The purpose of this video is to explain the difference between reliability and validity. Reliability for a measurement tool means that if this measurement tool is supposed to assess depression, then it will reliably assess depression for any person at any time in any circumstance, and any clinician could score it reliably as well. And so reliably or reliability just means consistency over time, that it is consistent in its assessment of depression. Whereas validity for a measurement tool means the truth, or is this assessment valid? So if someone rates as depression for a particular scale, does that mean that they're actually depressed? Is there truth in that assessment? Is it valid that they actually are depressed? That is the difference between reliability and validity. The purpose of this video is to explain reliability and validity, in particular Cronbach's alpha. So this article here is a validation article for the International Depression Symptom Scale, otherwise known as IDSS. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down to the reliability section, and they're going to explain to you the three different reliability tests that they're going to do. The first is exploratory factor analysis. The second is internal consistency reliability, which that is Cronbach's alpha. That's what they're using to determine that. There's also test, retest, and inter-rater reliability. So the test, retest reliability is calculated using Pearson's correlation coefficient, and the inter-rater reliability was assessed using the intra-class correlation, ICC. Exploratory factor analysis is a test of its own. If we go down to validity, the two validity tests that we're going to talk about is construct validity and criterion validity. They will test construct validity by, again, using Pearson's correlation coefficient and Spearman's correlation coefficient. And then for criterion validity, they will use, I believe it was logistic regression. We'll see that later on. So as we go down to the bottom to look at the results, we see the results here. So for the internal consistency, reliability, and item analysis, it's Cronbach's alpha. So for the Cronbach's alpha score, and you see this Greek letter A here, that's called alpha, was 0.92. The way that we can interpret a Cronbach's alpha is as we think about grades. If someone gets a 92, that's an A, so that would be excellent internal consistency or a high Cronbach's alpha. If it is a 0.80 or 80 to 89, that is a good score, so that would be, say, a B. If it is above a 70, 70 to 79, that is an acceptable internal consistency or an acceptable Cronbach's alpha score. They also have test, retest reliability, and what that is they will have a clinician or a person administer this scale to one person, and then they administer it again within 2 to 11 days. That's what they did in this article, but they're doing it again. So it's test, and then you retest them again. And what they found right here that they have very good correlation. So that's a high B, so that is a good test, retest reliability. What they also did is they did what's called inter-rater reliability. Now that's between two different raters. And so the question is if one rater gives this tool to someone and then another rater gives that tool to the same person, how closely aligned were their scores? And according to this article, they have a 0.90 score, which again is excellent. That's a really, really good score. So they have a high inter-rater reliability. So it doesn't matter who administers the scale, people should interpret the scores in a very similar way. So let's go down to validity. There's a difference between construct validity and criterion validity. In this case, construct validity says that if this measurement tool is trying to assess the construct of depression, well, if this is a new scale, well, what have other scales in the past done, and how does this new scale relate to them? And so you do a correlation. So you want to see how similar were the scores. And so in this case, the construct validity was supported by a very strong correlation, so that there was a strong correlation between the measurement tool that we're looking at here, which is the IDSS, the International Depression Scale, and the PHQ-9, which is another very popular depression scale. So it is a good correlation. Therefore, this scale has good construct validity. The other thing that they looked at is criterion validity. What criterion validity looks at is if someone does have depression, do they actually rate as though they're depressed through this measurement tool? And so what they did is they did logistic regressions to see if there was a significant difference between folks who took the test, who did actually have a disorder, or MDD is major depressive disorder, dysthymia is another type of depression disorder, or no disorder at all. And what they found is that there was a significant difference between people who had sort of a depression disorder or any disorder or no disorder at all, which means that this scale has good criterion validity. This video explained to you the difference between reliability and validity, the different types, and in particular, Cronbach's alpha.